It was 40 years ago today that my life started to change. I can almost recall everything that happened. Obviously, at the time I never realized where this was going to lead me or the effect it would have on the rest of my life. It all started, as I said, 40 years ago. My mother, Winifred or Winnie, caught my father Fred having an affair with our next-door neighbor Janet. My mother and father had been married for 4 years, and Mum had just had a baby. There was almost blood on the street. Our mum went inside, then went upstairs to their bedroom and threw every last item of clothing of his out of the window, including a suitcase and anything of his, whether it was fragile or not, telling him in a few sweet words what he could do. From that moment on, none of the family ever saw Fred or Janet again. A week later she had moved. This left Mum with a 4-month-old baby, called Robert, me. It was an extremely demanding time at first, as Mum still had to work, palming me out to different neighbors each day. I was not worried as long as I was fed and changed. One of Mum's unmarried sisters got in contact with her after she found out what had happened and offered to move in and look after me when Mum went to work. She herself was unmarried and only had a small flat of her own, whilst we lived in a 3-bedroomed house, so space was no problem for all of us to be together. When Auntie Marjorie, Queenie, arrived, thing really changed. All the stress from Mum went and I had a permanent family member looking after me. By the way, I have no idea why she was called Queenie, and I have never found out. I had a particularly good and happy upbringing. I went when I was 5 to what we used to call an infant school, where I got on well, but I got on well with the girls much better than I did with the boys. I enjoyed skipping, bouncing 2 balls against a wall while chanting a rhyme, just as the girls did. They seemed to enjoy me playing their games and just accepted me. The boys, on the other hand, were at the start calling me sissy or little girly boy, but they soon got fed up with that and just left me alone. I had a teddy bear I always had with me as well, so the girls and I often had tea dolly parties. As a few years passed, we all had stopped taking our dolls or teddies to school, but I was still accepted by the girls. You could almost say they accepted me more as one of them than a boy. It was when I was about 11 years old that things in me began to change. I began to notice and realize things about myself more and more. My voice showed no signs of breaking. I was totally hairless, not even a strand of hair on my body. Also, I was shorter than everyone else. I loved helping Mum and Auntie around the house, helping with the cleaning, washing up and baking. Auntie even taught me how to knit small toys. I also loved watching Mum getting ready to go out, watching her dress, seeing how she put on her makeup and put her hair in rollers, then brush it out so it was full of curls, then teasing it as she called it until it was just right. She would put her dress on and I would zip it up for her at the back. Then she would slip on her stiletto heels, put a little perfume on, and she was ready. To be honest, now, I think I was jealous of our Mum and what she wore. It was one of those nights that Mum went out, saying she would be back by 10, that I decided to do something that I had been thinking about for ages. It was to go to bed early, but instead of bed, I would try some of my Mum's clothes on. I told Auntie Queenie I was going to have an early night as I was so tired, so she kissed me on the cheek and said, "Good night, Bobby, see you in the morning." I went upstairs and waited for 10 minutes, then crept into our Mum's room and went to her chest of drawers. I took out a pink pair of panties, a rubber-type girdle with stocking fasteners on, a pair of sheer stockings, a bra, and a white full-length petticoat. By the time I had crept back to my room, I was shaking with anticipation. I carefully laid them on the bed and proceeded one at a time to put them on. First the panties, which were so soft and silky, then the rubber girdle, which I had to pull up a bit at a time, working my way around my waist, but when it was on, the feeling of the tightness, it seemed to be holding me all together. The feeling was unbelievable. Next came the stockings. I was very careful of them, as I remember Mum getting really annoyed because one of hers had got a ladder in it yesterday, so I did not want to do that, as I slid them up my legs and attached them to the fasteners on the girdle, and I felt the pull of the stockings on the fasteners. If I moved, I felt them pull against each other. It was an amazing experience. Then I put the bra on, doing it up at the front then turning it around. I don't know why I did this, but to me it just seemed so obvious. I got out some socks and stuffed the bra, which now gave me my boobs, which felt great. Then I slipped on the petticoat over my head as I had seen Mum do and pull it down, straightening it up. I slipped on a pair of her heels, which were a bit big on me, and started walking about the bedroom all dressed up. then I realized that the shoes were making a clicking noise, so I quickly took them off and waited with bated breath to see if anybody had heard me. Thank goodness Auntie was listening to the radio, so nothing happened. I continued to walk around in my stockinged feet, feeling the pull of my stockings as I walked, the swish of my petticoat and the feel of the stockings rubbing together when I took a step. The tightness of my bra and corset felt as if I should be wearing them all the time. They felt so comfortable and satisfying. I glanced at the clock and realized how long I had been, so I carefully undressed and put everything back in its place. Then I went to sleep dreaming about wearing girls' clothes forever. This carried on for months. At every opportunity one would dress, it felt such a great relief to me. Even at 12 years old I felt a great weight lift off me. I felt so contented when I was dressed. Then came the night I knew would come with all its dread. I had gone to bed early. Mom was supposed to be working late. I had dressed up as usual. When I heard footsteps on the stairs, what did I do? Panic, of course. I jumped into bed still wearing my underwear and pulled the sheets right up to my neck. My door opened quietly. It was Mom. She had come home early. She asked me if I was feeling all right as I had come to bed so early on a Friday night. I just said that I was tired. She looked at me with a strange look, then looked again. Her next words made my blood run cold. She said to me, "Bobby, pull your sheets down, please." I didn't move. I checked to see that nothing was showing, then I saw them, my bra straps, just the tops were showing. I went red in the face. I felt so scared. Mom would see what I was wearing. Mom just walked over to me and grabbed the corner of the sheet and pulled the whole sheet off, leaving me there showing her all that I was wearing. She said in a quiet voice, "Do not to move." Then went outside the bedroom and shouted for my auntie to come up straight away. She spoke to her outside my door and then they both came in. The look on Auntie's face said it all. She commented to Mum that I had even filled the bra out as if I had boobs. Mum said to me, "Bobby, put on my dressing gown and slippers and go downstairs to the dining room and wait for us there." I started to ask if I could get changed first, to which Mum said, "No, you are to go down there as you are." I went downstairs demurely and sat on the chair in the dining room. I heard them go into the kitchen and start talking. They were quiet so that I could not hear. After a while, they both came in with a cup of tea and sat down at the table facing me. "Right," said Mom, "have you done this sort of thing before?" I went very red and said, "No Mom, this was the first time. I just wanted to see what it felt like." Auntie Queenie looked at me, then said, "Now, Bobby, I want you to tell us the truth." She knew that I had been lying as she always did. With my lips quivering and my face going even redder, I looked down at the table and said, "No, I've done it lots of times. I'm so sorry. I won't do it again, I promise." They both looked at me. There was no anger in their eyes or voices when Mum said, "Bobby, tell me the truth. Please don't lie to us. Do you want to be a girl?" I had just been hit by a ton of bricks. I just burst out crying. They both came over and hugged me. It seemed to last for hours until I stopped sobbing. They both whispered in my ear saying, "It doesn't matter to us if you do, sweetness. And we will always love you no matter what." Then they kissed me on the cheeks. As Mum said, "Go upstairs, put everything back in its place, get one of my nighties out and a clean pair of panties, and you can wear them to bed tonight. Now off you go, sweetie, everything will be sorted by the morning." They both gave me another hug and kiss as I went upstairs to bed in total shock. I put all of Mum's clothes back nice and neat, took out a nightie and a pair of panties, put them on and went to bed, still in a daze. I had expected Mum and Auntie to go absolutely mad at me, calling me all the names under the sun. I expected something really bad, but not what had just happened. Morning came, and I thought I had dreamt it all until I felt the panties and nightie on me. It was not a dream, it all really happened. I heard Auntie call me down for breakfast. Mum said, "Don't bother changing yet, Bobby, just slip on what you had on last night." I answered back very quietly, "Okay, Mum." I slipped on Mum's dressing gown and slippers and very nervously went down to the kitchen. Mum and Auntie were both there. Auntie passed me my breakfast. I felt sick with fear, so I just nibbled on my toast. Mum was the first to speak. "Now, Bobby, regarding last night." I thought, "Oh shit, here it comes." Auntie and I have been talking about what happened. In fact, we have talked quite a lot about it. This is what we have decided. We all know that you dress as a girl quite a lot, don't we? I said, yes, Mum. Looking in the direction of Auntie Queenie, she carried on. We have both decided that if you want to dress as a girl or even become one, the first thing you should do is try it out. Now your summer holiday starts in 3 days and we are going on holiday a week after that for 3 weeks, so, you are going to dress as a girl from tomorrow. That means day and night, you will be referred to as a girl and we expect you to act as a girl. When I say you will dress as a girl, I mean everything a girl wears, so will you. Both Auntie and I will be going out shopping today to get your clothes and shoes. I will make you an appointment at my hairdresser's to have your hair styled in a girl style. You will also have both of your ears pierced. I started to protest, saying, Mom, Auntie, I don't want all of that done, please. I whimpered. Look, Bobby, this will help you sort yourself out one way or another. No matter what, we will always be there for you and with you. You never know, you might enjoy being a girl. So, no more said. That is what is going to happen, all right. My heart was in my mouth as I climbed the stairs to the bathroom, thinking I have got to dress like a girl, act like a girl, look like a girl, become a girl. For 6 weeks, I started to tremble with nervous apprehension. The following evening, I came home from school. Both Mum and Auntie called me into the sitting room where there were quite a few bags. Mum said to me, Now Bobby, Auntie and I have been out shopping for you. I hope you like what we have bought. It is for a 12 to 13-year-old. They started opening the first bag. I started to tremble, and it was 6 pairs of different colored panties with lace around the top and legs. Next came 4 matching padded bras size A, plus 2 white plain ones, all with lace around the tops and bottoms. I started to blush at this point. Mum smiled and said, Don't worry, Bobby, all us girls have to wear this under our clothes. The next bag contained 5 different colored and styled blouses, all with frills or patterns on them. Then came out 6 skirts, different lengths, different styles, different colors. Auntie said, all of these would mix and match. The next bag contained 3 half petticoats which were white and black and light blue, again with frills around the neck and around the bottom, plus 4 pairs of thin tights and 2 pairs of stockings and a white wide frilly suspender belt, which I was told that I would only wear on special occasions. The last but one bag contained 2 pairs of shoes with a 2-inch small heel and another with a 3-inch bigger heel. Again, I was told these were for special occasions. By this time I was starting to freak out in my mind. I did not think they were serious last night, but they had just proved me wrong. The last bag contained 2 very frilly nighties plus matching panties, a matching nighttime bra, a pair of furry slippers and a bag of makeup, which Mum said she would teach me how to use properly. The last item came in its own bag. It was a purple dress with no sleeves, a high collar and a purple sequin top with a pink silk undercloth covering my breasts in a heart shape. I couldn't stop looking at it. It was just so pretty. Tears came to my eyes as I ran over to Mum and Auntie and gave them both the biggest hug I could. Mum said, I take it you like it then, Bobby. I looked at them both and said, I don't like them, I adore them. Thank you so much for giving me this chance to be your daughter and niece for a short while. The following day I had to fully dress as a girl, panties, bra, blouse and skirt with tights and a pair of my new shoes. Mum gave me a short coat to put on and said, Right, sweetie, it's time for your hair and ear appointment, let's go. I hesitated. I had never been out before dressed, so Mum took my hand and almost dragged me out the door. I started shaking when Mum said, Look, Bobby, no one will recognize you and it's only about half a mile to the hairdresser's, so just act normally, for a girl that is, and no one will even take any notice of you. So, we walked along hand in hand. I was hearing the clip of my heels, feeling the wind blow up my skirt, my tights rubbed together as I walked. I was becoming overwhelmed with all these different sensations. At last, we got to the hairdresser's and went in. The assistant came over and looking at me said, Are you Bobby? Your mum said that this is your first time at the hairdresser's. Well, don't worry, by the time we're finished you will be the prettiest girl around here. All I could do was blush. Oh, how sweet, the assistant replied. Come on over here, Bobby, and sit down. Your mum has told us what you want, and you are having your ears pierced as well. You're a lucky girl. The assistant, who was called Jane, it was on her name tag, said to our mom, "If you want to leave her for about 2 hours and do your shopping, she should almost be ready for you." Mom thanked her and said to me, "Now be a good girl for the lady, won't you, Bobby? I can't wait to see what our girl looks like afterwards." 2 hours later, my hair had been washed, conditioned, re-washed, and I had a rubber cap with small holes in it put on my head and had some of my hair pulled through the holes in the cap. Then some sort of white cream which smelled a bit was brushed onto the hair which had been pulled through the cap, then each part was folded in tin foil. Jane then gave me a woman's magazine to read, telling me she will be back in about 20 minutes. Those were 20 long minutes. I kept wondering what she was doing. Then she suddenly appeared, undone one of my wrapped pieces of hair, looked at it and said to me, "Another 10 minutes and you will be done." 10 minutes came and she was back. "Right," she said, "let's carry on and finish it." She unfolded all my tinfoil, then pasted some neutralizer, as she called it, onto my hair. I had to wait a few minutes, then she took the rubber cap off, saying to herself, "Perfect." Then it was back to the sink for another hair wash and more conditioner put on. I had a towel wrapped around my head and was taken back to her chair. Jane said to me, "It's come out better than I could have hoped for. Now when I am finished you will have to come back every 6 weeks for it to be trimmed and touched up." "Okay, Bobby." I just nodded, smiling. Then Jane brushes it all out. I had left my hair quite long, it was almost down to my shoulders. It was then I started to panic. I heard Jane starting to snip away. I said quietly to her, "Please don't cut it too short, will you?" She laughed, saying, "I'm only leveling it up to get rid of any split ends, and to give you a small fringe." I said, "Thank you," and relaxed. She then got out loads of plastic curlers and started to roll my hair up in them. There were big ones, small one, I think every type known. My hair was now full of curlers. She placed a hairnet over them all and slipped me under a dryer, giving me another woman's magazine to read. My poor head got really hot. Then Jane came along, put her fingers under the dryer and said, "That's it, the hard part's over." She lifted the dryer off me and began undoing my curlers slowly. When she had finished, she took her brushes out and started brushing my hair out. It must have been a good 15 minutes by the time she was happy with it. Then came the hairspray. It felt as if she used enough on me for at least 10 people. Then there was a little bit of touching up and she was finished. "Right," said Jane, "before I let you see it we will get your ears done." Now was it 1 or 2? I cannot remember what your mother said. Thinking she meant 1 in each ear, I said, "Just the 2 please, Jane." The next thing I knew was that Jane was marking my ears with some sort of pen, just making sure they will line up. She said, I smiled and said, "Okay, thank you, Jane." All of my inhibitions seemed to have just drained away. "Right, this is going to hurt a bit, Bobby, but it will be over quick, I promise," Jane said. The next thing I knew was something was being sprayed onto my earlobes, and that was followed by 2 pinches. The next ear was the same, Jane said. "For the moment I will put some studs in." I will admit that I did enjoy having my hair done, it was so relaxing. Then Jane showed me what I looked like in the mirror. I don't really know. I saw a very pretty girl with a very girly hairstyle with blonde streaks in it, with 2 studs in each ear. One moment I wanted to cry because I was a boy, the next I wanted to cry because I looked like a real girl. Mom came in at that precise moment and took one look at me and said, "Bobby, you look gorgeous, so feminine." I ran over to her and gave her the biggest hug I could. We said thank you to Jane and Mom made another appointment for me in 6 weeks. I went home with a spring in my step. I felt absolutely fantastic. When we got home, an auntie saw me. She started crying, saying, "I knew she was a girl, I have always known it. She is so beautiful, too beautiful to be a boy." I went over and hugged her hard. The next 6 weeks were bliss. I was always taken for a girl. I made some more girlfriends, bought some new clothes, and even went sunbathing in a bikini, which left me tan lines top and bottom. I felt immensely proud of them. The more I stayed as a girl, the more effeminate I became. I learned to do my own makeup under Mom's supervision, which was really a tricky thing to learn. I had my fingernails and toenails painted. I had my eyebrows plucked in a small shop. I was feeling 100% female and loving every moment of it. On the last night of our holiday, Mum and Auntie took me out to a very fashionable and elegant restaurant. Mum said, "This is a place where we wear our best clothes. I have booked a table for 8 p.m. That will give us plenty of time to get ourselves ready." I was so excited I could dress up to the nines tonight. We all had our showers and went off to our respective bedrooms to get ready. I knew exactly what I was going to wear, so I got everything out and laid it on the bed. First I put on my pink padded bra and my matching pink panties, next made my white suspender belt, which I clipped around my waist and pulled my suspenders through my panties. It was funny because the first time I put them on, I put the suspenders on the outside of my panties. Auntie commented saying, "How are you going to pull your panties down to go to the loo now?" As my brain worked it out, we both burst out laughing. Next came my seam stockings. I slid them slowly up my leg, making sure that the seams were straight, then clipped them onto my suspender belt. I stepped into my petticoat and gently pulled it up to my waist. I carefully took my new dress out of the plastic liner it was in and with real excitement I slipped it over my head, pulling it down, gently wriggling it until it was in place, then grasped the side zip and slowly pulled the dress together, feeling it encase my body snugly. Even at that point, I felt $1,000,000. Next was my makeup. I put a bib around my neck so that no makeup would fall on my dress. Remembering what Mum and Auntie had told and shown me, I carefully applied it, making sure I did not plaster it on but used it sparingly so the combined colors would blend smoothly together. After this I did my hair, back combing it, then brushing it so it was loose, then getting a purple piece of ribbon, tying it in a small bow with the ends hanging down slightly, just as you would a ponytail, but much frizzier. I put on my new drop earring I had bought on holiday and my matching choker, sprayed a little perfume on my wrists and under my chin, slipped on my new 3-inch heeled shoes, then went to my clutch bag to make sure I had everything I wanted in there, gave myself a final check in the mirror, and loved what I saw, then went and knocked on Mum's bedroom door for her approval. Auntie was in there already, and when they saw me you could see tears in their eyes. I had comments like, "Oh, Winnie, she looks so beautiful, so feminine." And from Mom, "Darling, you look amazing, you are going to turn a few boys' heads tonight." Then came that fateful day when Mum said, "Well, Bobby, the holiday's over. On the way back I want you to think what you really want to do. If you want to revert back to a boy, that will be no problem. If you want to remain a girl, that's still no problem, except there will be no going back. You will remain a girl for the rest of your life. Do I make myself clear? If you choose that, then we will contact the doctor as soon as we get back. Please think about it all carefully. It is a tremendous big decision for you, but we will abide by whatever you choose. Is that all right with you, sweetie?" I replied with a slight smile on my face, "Yes, Mum, I will really have a good think about what I want to do when we get back." I was already deciding what new colors I would like my new bedroom, something nice and girly I thought.